Hey everyone, and welcome back to Digital Vaults. Today we're going to be discussing a topic that's on the minds of many students. Should I take the MCAT or the DAT? Which one is harder? The MCAT, or Medical College Admission Test, is the primary standardized test for admission to medical schools in Canada and the United States. It's administered by the Association of American Medical Colleges, the AAMC, and tests knowledge of the natural, biological, and physical sciences, as well as psychology and sociology. It's also designed to test critical reading and analytical skills, making it a comprehensive exam for prospective medical students. On the other hand, the DAT, or Dental Admission Test, is designed for aspiring dental school students. It's administered by the American Dental Association, the ADA, and tests knowledge of the natural sciences, as well as reading comprehension, quantitative and spatial perception skills. While it covers similar content areas to the MCAT, there are significant differences between the two. Let's break down the major differences between the two exams in practical terms. The MCAT is a computer-based test that lasts around 7 hours and 30 minutes, while the DAT is also a computer-based test but only lasts about 4 hours and 15 minutes. The MCAT costs around $310, while the DAT is more expensive at around $475. And while the MCAT is offered from January to September every year and usually around 25 times, the DAT is available year-round. In terms of content, both exams cover similar areas in terms of quantitative reasoning, natural sciences, and reading comprehension. However, the MCAT is far more passage-based than the DAT. This means that test takers have to be able to read and comprehend passages quickly, applying their background knowledge of scientific concepts along the way. Perhaps the biggest content difference between the two exams is in the DAT's perceptual ability test. This section tests students on their two-dimensional and three-dimensional visuospatial perception, which can be challenging for some test takers. There are also a few logistical differences that make the experience of taking the DAT very different from completing the MCAT. For example, you receive an unofficial score report immediately after you finish the DAT, while you won't get your MCAT scores for around a month. Additionally, while there are many more math questions on the DAT than on the MCAT, you can use a calculator while taking the DAT. Calculators are not allowed at the MCAT. So which test should you take? Overall, the MCAT is usually considered more difficult than the DAT by most test takers. The MCAT focuses more on responding to lengthy passages, so you'll need to be able to synthesize, understand, and analyze written passages quickly to do well on the exam. The DAT is also far shorter than the MCAT, so if you struggle with testing endurance or anxiety, the MCAT may prove to be a bigger challenge for you. However, the exception to this general rule is if you struggle with visuospatial perception, also known as PAT, as the DAT specifically tests this in a way that few, if any, other standardized tests do. If you have trouble with visual or spatial perception, this section of the DAT may pose a significant challenge. The DAT exam is shorter and covers less subjects to study. However, if you struggle with spatial reasoning or your mathematical skills are rusty, DAT could be just as challenging. Ultimately, the biggest difference between the MCAT and the DAT is the potential career you can pursue. The DAT is specific to admission to dental schools, while the MCAT is applicable to a greater variety of medical disciplines. So take some time to think about your career goals and which test aligns with them. That's it for today's video. We hope this breakdown of the differences and similarities between the MCAT and DAT has been helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Last but not least, time for the announcement for our monthly giveaway. Each month we run giveaways to help students with the costs of studying and advancement. As a subscriber, you'll be entered to win a free test prep course of your choice of $600 value or a $600 scholarship to use towards your education. Subscribe, like, and comment for a chance to win one of these prizes. You can find more details about the contest in the description section of this video.